We're live.
That
Hello, everybody. Hello, Brendon Watt.
Hello, darling. Hello, Em. That uncomfortable silence before it goes live. Oh my goodness.
Like, wait for it. Wait for it.
How am I supposed to not talk for 3 seconds? Oh my goodness.
So we've been doing different chats. I think we started last year about different topics and access bars. And I'd love to invite everyone. If you guys go to Brendon's page, and maybe you've seen it on Access Consciousness or different people, we've shared this like a template where you can upload a photo of you before you found access bars or the tools of access, and then where you are now. And it's so cool to see everyone's photos. So Brendon, you have also one on your page, but there's,
I know, I saw it. I was like,
I know, right? And if you guys haven't seen, also, if you might be watching this live in the Access Bars 365 Facebook group, or you might be finding it on Brendon's page or Access Consciousness. But if you are not in, there's a free Facebook group called Access Bars 365. And if you go in there right now, everyone's been posting those photos of them before they found access bars and where they're at now with stories of like what's changed. And it's amazing to check out some of the photos. So if you guys haven't gone in there, go in there, check it out. And then today, so I think last time we talked, I can't remember what our topic was in access bars. Was it presence?
Relax?
Relax?
Receive? I don't know. I don't remember yesterday.
I know, it's a hard question. So, but today we wanted to talk about ease and access bars. And so, okay, ease. Brendon, what would you describe as ease versus easy?
Well, yeah, and that's the big difference. Is it's like, I mean, for a lot of my life, I went for easy. Like, I just want everything to be easy and everything just to be rainbows and butterflies and magical and everything's just easy. But don't let me look at anything that's not easy. And that was the thing that stopped me knowing a lot about myself. Was a lot about myself, but also a lot about what was going to take me more forward in my life. So I would always look for the easy part rather than the mantra of access is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And that is where you can have ease with everything in your life. So it gives you this space where you don't have to avoid anything, because what we do with easy as a point of view is we go, oh, okay, so that's not easy. I don't want to do it. Or that's not easy. I don't want to look at it. Don't show me my dirty laundry right now because it's not easy to look at. Yeah, but what if you could look at all of those things that you've been hiding from yourself and have ease with that also? And the thing that I see that doesn't create the ease is the judgment that we have of ourselves. We won't look at things because we'll go, well, but if I look at that, then, but that's all the stuff that's wrong about me. That's all the shitty things. That's all the stuff that I've decided I don't like about myself. How am I going to have easy with that? Well, you're not going to have easy with it. Okay, because looking at your dirty laundry and looking at the shit in your life is not easy, but what would it be like if you could have ease with it?
Can you, when you said that, because I was going to ask you, okay, how do you get to ease? But when you said it's about not having the judgment of it.
Yeah.
Can you say that?
Yeah. Well, that part is getting to allowance of yourself. And see, what I see a lot of people do is once they start, hearing about allowance and going, oh, wow, like actually allowing allowance is allowing anything to be as it is in the moment. You don't have a point of view about it. You don't have a judgment of it. It is what it is. And it allows it to change as it changes. So with people, a lot of us look at, okay, so like if you're anything like most people, you do control instead of allowance. So it's, let me control this into this so it's exactly the way I want it, which is not allowance. You don't actually allow you to have choice. You don't allow the other person to have choice. And it ends up being a conflict. So people will, you can look at, okay, so interesting point of view, and this is the tool to get to it, is interesting point of view. I have this point of view about a person, about your money flow, your business, whatever you have a point of, basically anything you have a point of view about. And the person that we leave last in that is us. But if you start with you, with the allowance, it's much easier to get to allowance of everything else in your life.
Yeah. Because how can you have ease in your life if you're not having it for you?
For you. Yeah. 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 And it's such a big thing. Like I always did it too. I look so outside of myself, thinking that if I could fix all these problems and all the stuff that wasn't working in my life, or just focus on the stuff that is working in my life, then I could make it work. And it never worked because I was looking outside of myself rather than look at it and go, okay, so who am I? What would I like to choose? What would I like to create? And then starting to look at everything that I'd hidden from myself and going, okay, so interesting point of view. I have the point of view that this is wrong. Yeah. And it was such, like, for me, that was such a journey and I'm still going dynamically, such a journey to getting to that place of ease. Because if you can look at anything in your life, all the stuff that you've hidden from yourself, any secret that you're trying to keep, anything that you've decided is bad, terrible, evil, and wrong about you, which are the things that we hide from ourselves. We don't hide the things that we judge as good. We hide the things that we judge as bad. So we're creating ourselves based on this positive judgment rather than looking at all these things. Like if you've got all these little bits and pieces that you go, oh, that's terrible about me. You know, oh, I'm selfish, or I can be an asshole, or I can be mean, or, you know, and there's all these different things that we push away and we don't want to look at for whatever reason that we've decided they're wrong, but we don't get to see the gift in them either without that allowance. So it can be an interesting thing to look at. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, it's just wonderful to look at it all. But as you start pulling it apart and going, you know what, I'm going to be present with these things, then you can start using this tool of interesting point of view. I have the point of view that this is all I am. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that this is wrong. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that I am wrong. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that this will not change. And because that's one of the big things, is how many of you decide that the things in your life that don't work, you have no control, you have no capacity to change it.
Yeah.
You know, and I did that big time. I'd be like, well, that's just not going to change. Push that aside. That's not going to change, you know, but it's like, so there's the interesting point of view part, but also if you are willing to be present with it and go, what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can I be to allow this to change instantaneously with total ease? And everything that doesn't allow that, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And it gets you out of that place of thinking, well, no, I can't change it. Yes, you can. Anything can be changed if you're willing to be present with it and if you're willing to be in question.
Well, I love that you just said that, because that's so much, that is ease, where there's that, isn't there that phrase like change has to be hard or change isn't easy, but it can be ease. Like you said, it might not be, it takes some, you know, vulnerability to look at stuff, but that, when you say that, but it can be ease.
Yeah. Well, even that though, the vulnerability, like, I mean, how much judgment do we have of that? Just even in the vulnerability part, which is it can be one of the first steps in looking at it, because I mean, I used to do it. Like I'd have things in my life and I'd bring them up, but I wasn't actually, I would have them there going, you know, I'd really like to change this, but I had walls up to it. Like I wasn't actually willing to be vulnerable and be present there as me and just be with it and go, okay, so what's it going to take for this to change? What do I have to be or do different that would allow this to change? And start being in that question rather than, oh, that can't change, because that's taking the easy route, not going for the route of ease.
So isn't it funny that, and what is that about? Because not looking at things, hiding the things we think are bad, judging ourselves, is actually quite it's a full-on job to be doing that all the time, yet it's normal.
That's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job. Why are we going for the full-time hard job and not willing to have like ease?
Well, it's not even a why, we just do. I mean, because the thing we do with that is, so you've got all this shit stored wherever you store it. I'd like to say there was a destination, because then we could just get rid of that destination, but you would never get rid of that destination because it holds all the secrets and all the keys to your whatever. But with that, what we do also is then, so we've got all this stuff here, this big pile of poo that we don't want anybody to see. We've got all that stuff there, but then we start proving we're the opposite of that. So we go from, okay, this is all the bad stuff about me. How do I project myself into the world when I don't want to be seen as all that? I mean, you have a hard enough time making yourself wrong. You don't want anybody else to be doing it too. So you're going, okay, I'm the best person in the whole wide world at making me wrong. So let me project an image of me into the world so that finally somebody can see me as right, so I can stop being wrong.
Yeah.
But all we're doing is proving. We're in a constant state of proving of this is, I'm going to be the opposite of that, rather than, you know what, I'm that too. I'm all of that stuff too, but I can't see the gift in that yet because I haven't been willing to be present with it.
Yeah. The ease of being to be present with everything and look at all of that, versus projecting an image and hiding everything else.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, I've been doing Access for 11 years now, and I've only just started really dynamically looking at this in the last couple of months, and it's been uncomfortable, really uncomfortable, but it's been so freeing. Like, I was having a conversation because what I'd done my whole life was I'd try and find the shortcut or the easy path, which is interesting now that we're talking about this. I'd always try and find the easy part, which for me was sticking my head in the sand. Let me just avoid it all so I don't have to deal with it, because I don't want to deal with it because it's not easy to deal with. And I was having a conversation with Gary when a lot of stuff was coming up that I knew I needed to look at. Like, energetically, I knew that if I didn't start looking at this stuff, my future was not going to be bright. So I was talking to him one day, and he said, "You're not willing to go through the rigors of hell to have you." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, you keep trying to find the easy path. You're trying to find the easy way out of this rather than look at all of this stuff that you're hiding from yourself, be present with it, and look at if that's what you truly desire to choose." And when he said that, I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm doing it. I'm just going to, whatever this takes, I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through, be present with whatever I need to. And I was talking to him yesterday. This is after a couple of months. And I said, "I'm so grateful for you saying that to me, because it gets really uncomfortable." But I said, every time that I got to that level of just wanting to stick my head in the sand again or avoid it, I took one more step, and the freedom and the ease and the peace that came on the other side of that was just blew me away. And I was like, wow, because it's not, see, once you take that judgment away and you're just there present with the energy of it, oftentimes what you're hiding is not even what you're hiding. It's the judgment that you have of it that you're hiding. It's not the actual energy of what it is, because that energy of what it is, there's always a gift in it. Always. And
That's so true.
It's like even with one of the things for me, and I just want to give you guys some examples so that you actually have a pragmatic way of using this. But it's like, so one of the things for me was I had this thing that I was selfish, that I'd make it all about me. So what I was doing was, I'm selfish. Let me hide that. That's a wrongness. That's bad. That's terrible. Let me prove that I'm not selfish by doing selfless acts. So it was still a judgment, but it was now a positive judgment that I had to prove, which took me out of being and kept me in a constant state of judgment of me. Because what you have to do with that is you've got to go, okay, is this selfless? Is this selfless? Am I judging myself correctly? Am I crafting my image correctly so that I can make sure that I'm proving the opposite of what I've decided I am?
Yeah.
But see, so we've got that part. But then if you pull it apart a little bit and you get present with it and you go, okay, so I have this judgment of myself that I'm selfish. So what you could start with that will start unraveling it is, and what I did was so I'm going to do it in short form. I did the long form before. What ESCC MMMP can I be to be the most selfish person on planet Earth that I truly be for all eternity with total ease? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, meons. Now, here's the thing. You would hear that and go, but that's going to make me more selfish. Oh my goodness. Why would I want it? Why would I ask energy, space, consciousness, magic, miracles, possibilities, and choice to make me more, to be more selfish? Because you can. No, I'm kidding. But it's like, because it brings up that energy and it gets you to look at, okay, that's an energy there. That's a choice. That can be one part of you. Is that true? Because if you're not willing to be it and be present with it, then you can't change it.
Yep.
And so I started doing that. And then what I started realizing that when I was a kid, it was never about me. It was always about me, but it was never about me. And this is the thing with the kingdom of we, is when it's all about you, when you do it from this place of being, it includes everyone and everything. But that's not how it's seen in this reality.
Gosh. And when you say that, kids are actually a great example, but how many of us as kids are told, you're making it all about you, which it can be that as well, but there's exactly that energy when a kid is just being them. And of course their world is this, but it includes everyone when it's from being. That's such a good example.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. And it does. And it's like, for so many of us, we had that, but then, so in this reality, it's like you just said, it's like, you're being selfish, you're making it all about you. So we assimilate that energy with selfish.
Yeah.
You know, so now making it all about me, which includes everybody else, now that's selfish, that's a wrongness. Let me hide that, which is what I did. I went, oh shit, I don't want to be like, selfish is obviously a wrong thing. So we start learning this as kids, as we start learning how to judge. and so I had this thing of this, I mean, for me as a kid, I was just like, even with all the abuse and all the trauma and drama and all the conflict and all the stress and all the stuff that people loved, the adults loved when I was a kid, I was still I was stuck, just so different. And I'd just be like, I used to look at people like, what, why? Like, what are you doing? But I started buying that as a reality. So then I started living the rest of my life as if that's a wrongness and start having to prove that I'm selfless. So what I'm trying to get to here with this is so you've got this wrongness of you over here, which is selfish. Now you're proving that you're selfless, which gives you no being and keeps you in a constant state of judgment of you. Once you're willing to go, you know what, I'm going to look at this energy that I'm hiding from me, which is the selfish thing. You look at that and you go, interesting point of view. I have the point of view that this is wrong. Interesting point of view. I have the point of view that I am doing something wrong. Anything that's coming up as a point of view with that energy, interesting point of view. I have that point of view. And then suddenly you go, wait a minute. I wasn't selfish. I really just wanted to include everybody. And I just wanted to show them that happiness is possible and that they could actually have ease in their life. And they could actually have no point of view about things, and they could be an allowance. And I just wanted to love people, and I just wanted them to see that they're not wrong either. And you start getting this energetic download of that moment, and it's not a cognitive thing, of that moment where you've just pushed 95% of the magic of you into a corner, and now you're not looking at it based on one person's idea that it's bad and wrong.
Yeah.
And this is how this reality works, rather than, you know what? No. That's not actually true for me, but you can't see what's true for me while you have secrets.
Secrets. And when you talk about all that limited menu of what you have to choose from, like you can't be selfish, you can't be all these things that people told you are judgeable. And so your life gets so much smaller, and your choices of this is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And someone else, when you ran that clearing of what ESCC MMMP, which if you guys, that's the short version for what Brendon said earlier.
Energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities.
That. And so I was like, and you said, why would we want to learn that about being selfish? And so I was like, that's exactly what I thought. And I love how you explain that, because I, like, with all those energies, I looked at all the things that I didn't want to be called, or I would be horrified to be judged. Like for me, one of it was a bad mom, or, you know, a user, or these things that are energies that, or judgments that we made really wrong. So then I have no choice but to be a good mom and only choose things that are like correct, like perfect and not judgeable as bad. And it's like, it limits you so much.
Yep.
And so I always like if everyone on here, like whatever your three, I always say three, like pick three things that you'd hate to be judged for or called. And can you say how that opens up the ease when you're willing to have all that? Because I loved when you said you kept taking, it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Time you took one more step, there was so much more freedom and ease.
Yeah. Well, you with that, like because the uncomfort comes with when you change something like that, you cannot hold on to that image that you're proving the opposite of. Mm. So it's like, with creating this image or this personality is it's what we project into the world as us, as if that's us. But that's one particle of who you are as a being. That's the tiniest speck of sand on a beach of it. Basically, that's you as a personality in comparison to your being. So what we do with that is, it's like with looking at, say, something like this with the selfish thing, or being a bad mum, or being a user, is if you really get present with that, because if you get present with it, you're going to change it. You are going to change it, because otherwise you wouldn't have the balls to get present with it. So you get present with it, and then you start because you also are an energetic being, all of you are. So you start getting an awareness based on that one choice to get present with it of the future that it's going to create. Wow. Because we all have awareness of the future based on the choices we make, even if 99.9 billion% of the time we don't want to acknowledge that. But that's a whole different conversation. But so we get present with that. We're aware of this future that choice is going to create. Your image is going to start disappearing if you start changing all of these things that you're proving the opposite of in order to create the image. Yeah. So the uncomfort comes with, shit, who am I going to be without that definition of me? So we get uncomfortable, and then we go, okay, well, I don't want to let go of that, because if I let go of that, I have no clue who I am. So let me hold on to it. And then we're back to square one.
Wow.
So I do want to give it another process with this, because I run this constantly, and it's gonna unlock different things. Also, is what ESCC MMMP can I be to be out of control, out of definition, out of limitation, out of form, structure, significance, out of linearities, and out of concentricities for all eternity, with total ease. Everything that is times a godzillion, and everything doesn't allow it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. See, because that's the other thing that we do is in order to keep that image of you, of what you've decided you are, you have to be in a constant state of control. And you're always defining that image, because if you can define it, you can confine you within that image so that you know that you can maintain it. You can have the form, structure, significance, you can have the linearity and the concentricities with it. And change becomes controllable future, so that you know now. What happened? So you know now that you can change only within that only within what you've confined yourself as. So blah blah blah, lots of cool shit. But
yeah.
But so what was I about to get to? Something. Oh, so with that, also with the way that it limits choice, with this menu of choice, one of the things that we do is, see, choice is basically yes, no. Yes, no is a reality without the judgment. So, okay, if I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? Oh, if I don't choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? And then you've got your yes, no. Okay, this is going to create more yes, I'll choose it. It's going to create less no, I won't choose it. That's basically how simple it can be, but we complicate it a lot more with all these different things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, in between that, if you don't want to, if you've got all these secrets that you're hiding from yourself, we have this universe of maybe, the no choice universe, where you're like, maybe I'll like choose that, but maybe not. Like, can somebody else choose it? Because if I don't know what to choose. I'm confused. What do I choose? Like, no, yes, I don't know. We have this land of no choice that we can live in, so that if we can live in that and we don't actually make a choice, then we know that we can keep our secrets safe.
Yeah.
Because if we make a choice that exposes one of those secrets, then also our image starts shattering. So we're constantly in this head trip of what we can and can't choose.
Totally. I'm grateful for you walking us through that ease. And I might have to let my puppy out because he's going to start barking.
Let him out. So what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can you be to be out of control, out of definition, out of limitation, out of form, structure, significance, out of linearities, and out of concentricities for all eternity with total ease? Everything that doesn't allow that, times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I also have if anyone on my gaggle is listening to this, I also have a clip in, I had that process on a loop in SoundCloud, and it's up to almost 100,000 people have got it.
Yeah.
Listen. And I'm like, that's awesome, because if this is one process the humanoids on this planet need right now, is that one. If I could give one process, if it was, okay, you're only allowed to give one process out and that's it would be that one.
Yeah. And someone might put the link in, or if not, they can find it on SoundCloud, and they just look up Brendon Watt and they'll find it. It's
Brendon Watt, Out of Control.
Out of Control. Wow. Yeah. To walk, I just love your examples, and there's been a lot of gratitude in the comments, but of walking people through the uncomfort, but how that actually creates so much ease. Like when you talked about being energetic beings, just once you get present with something, the ease of changing things from being present is a lot more lot more ease than the hard work of hiding, personality, like everything you were talking about. It's so funny. It's truly
big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And that was that. And thank you for bringing that up, because that was one of the things that, well, I want to say surprised me, but I guess somewhere I knew that it would have that much ease to it, which is why I didn't actually want to choose it, because at the time I didn't want a life of ease. I thought pain, suffering, and gory was the easier way to fit in. But
you definitely fit with it. That's true.
Yeah, you can definitely fit in, because then you can entertain yourself with the conflict and the stress that everybody else does, and now you have something to talk about. You know, when you start getting to that level of ease in your life, you really don't have that much. That it's not, oh, the weather's great because the weather's great today. Let's talk, whatever, which is fine also, but it's you start getting this sense of being like, what else is possible with this? And what I realized was as I started looking at all these things that I was keeping secret, thinking that it was going to be the worst thing in the world to look at that, as I started changing parts and different things with it, the ease in my life expanded. The ease in my life, I would say now, has expanded more in the last few weeks than it has in the last 10 years. Wow. And just from like looking at these things, and so just from looking at these things, because it was like, one of the other things I want to say to this, because one of the things that we dismiss a lot is there'll be little things. Like there's little things that we want to change. There's little things that we kind of just push aside and we'll just be like, well, that's just a little thing. I don't even want to talk about that, because it's like this tiny thing that shouldn't be relevant. But it can be that one little thing that you're hiding from yourself and not being present with. That can be the one string that when you pull it allows all of it to go, okay, now I can change. It can be the one thing holding all of these things together, because it may look little, but it actually energetically may be one of the bigger things that allows you to change all the things that you somewhere have decided you cannot change.
Yeah. Well, and that is such a great example of ease, that as you keep going, if you keep taking that one step, that it truly can you can have more change in 1 week than you did the last 10 years. That's ease, but you had to take the extra steps when it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, it just, I mean, I had so many, was your dog running amok? I had so many different ways of, like, I'd get to that uncomfort, and because I had a judgment of that uncomfort. Oh, well, I can't go through that. I can't, this is too uncomfortable. I feel too weird. I feel too strange. Feel. And so that uncomfort and that sense of just total undefinable would come up, and I would usually in the past have run away from it and gone, okay, so I don't want to deal with that. It's not normal. It's too different. It's blah, blah, whatever. But what I found was, as I was there being present with it and not using the vices that I would have used in the past to avoid it and ignore it, be present with it, the change in how much ease and how much speed and how much space you can have with it it's miraculous. What's he doing?
He went outside to greet all of the painters, and as they left the fence, he just crawled under the fence and got out into the street. He's so good.
He didn't start humping them?
He did that too. That's how he says hi to everybody now.
He just humps them.
He became a teenager, like, overnight.
Don't you wish we could say hi like that? You know, just run around, just like, hi, humping people.
That's his world, apparently. So, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I'm glad you could just keep, I don't know what you said, I'm sure brilliance.
I don't either. I just like, I mean, it excites me, this, like, this whole thing with, like, looking at these things, because truly, you're not going to get to ease with secrets, because you're constantly going to be hiding from you and blah, 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 like everything we've talked about. So it's like, and also using this tool. I mean, when I first came to Access, I use this all the time, and now I use it all the time also, but I definitely had breaks of not using it and going, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. It is a seriously dynamic tool. And all you do is you say that at least 10 times in the morning and 10 times at night. And that's going to change the energy and the space in your world also. But that would be too easy. And see, that's the other thing we do with easy, is if anything's too easy, it can't have ease, because it can't be relevant. That's too easy. That can't work. It's like, life should be about hard work. You got to work hard, and you got to have blood, sweat, and tears, and you got to, like, make sure that you can do everything on your own and don't receive what the universe is saying. Hey, dum-dum, if you ask me a question right now and drop your walls and are actually willing to be a different space, which would allow you to receive a different space beyond what you've defined yourself as, I've got a fucking smorgasbord here that I'm just waiting to give you. And you're going, no, that's too easy. Leave me alone. I need to make sure that if the universe goes away, I can still do it all on my own.
Yes.
The universe ain't going
hard
anywhere.
enough to create change. I'm sorry. That's not hard enough to actually contribute.
And it's like, and see, this is what we do as kids. It's asking you shall receive is a reality. I mean, and it's still, we've all had moments in our life. Like, I've had so many times that I look at now where I've asked for something and being willing to be me and have that energy of willing to receive it, and it just shows up. We've all done it. But see, and even that, like, if you start another tool here on top of this, is look at those times in your life that you've had things show up, whether that's been, it could be the smallest thing, but you've asked for something and it showed up. Be with that for one moment and acknowledge it and go, wow, I never actually acknowledged that was me being me that created that by my request. And as you start acknowledging those times in the past where you've asked for that and you've received, because my guess is you've never actually acknowledged it. You went, oh, that was lucky. Oh, what a coincidence. That just showed up when I asked for it. You know, so we have all of these ways of justifying it so that we never have to actually acknowledge the magic that we are. But if you look through your life right now and there was 5 things or 10 things you haven't acknowledged that were magical creations from you being you, and acknowledging that opens up a whole new space as well, because how much more magical are you going to be right now when you go, holy shit, I created something by my request. by my willingness to be. Everything that doesn't allow me to acknowledge that. So let's do this. So what beyond this reality? Energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can you be to acknowledge the magic that you truly be, even if you've decided you're not it? Can you be for all eternity with total ease? Everything that doesn't allow that, times a godzillion, we destroy, not create it.
Yeah.
I will get you people acknowledging the magic you are. God damn it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nice shorts, boys and beyond. Don't make me come through this computer screen. Thank you.
Well, can I also invite people to for me, especially, that brought so much more ease and like acknowledge the magic of me was bars. Like the first time I went to a bars class. And I just want everyone to know, invite you to, Brendon, you're facilitating like once or twice a year, you do like a global bars class, meaning it's streamed online. People can join. You can use it to become a bars facilitator or a practitioner. And your next one is coming up April 28th. So soon. That's like this month now.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Yep.
And you can come live in Mexico. There's a venue where you can like join us live in Mexico, or you can join online from wherever you are in the world. And so I just want to let people know about that. And you can find information on that page, or you can go to Brendon's website too. We have it all over the place, basically.
And I would love to ask for contribution with that also, which is something that I wouldn't have done in the past, to be like, well, I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to, that's gone. I'm asking for contribution, but it's like, I would spread the word because my target with this is, it's like with Global Bars Day, when we've got so many people around the world running bars at the same time, creates this dynamic energy. Talk about ease. Yeah. Like every time we've done one of those, it's like, I kind of sit like, I either want to just sit in a puddle and cry, or I'm just like, I cannot think, no thought in my head. But see, oneness is, we're all connected. Oneness is, we are the drop in the ocean while being the ocean simultaneously. You are you, but you are oneness. So with that many of us running bars around the world, and the other thing that gets me excited about is that many of us learning how to run bars around the world, so that you can torture everybody that you know now because you know how to run bars. It's like, what a beautiful thing. And I know, and Emily knows, because we've talked about this, we have an awareness of the future where bars is, it is just, people are like, oh, you're walking down the street, people are like, oh, bars. I mean, I was getting a massage off this guy when I was in Florida for last weekend doing class, and so I'm getting a massage off this guy, and he's just weirded out by me. He's like, what is this creature? I mean, he's like, I've never seen somebody so flexible. And I'm like, really? I don't do anything to create more flexibility. My body's just weird. But I'm weird, I'm just stranger in a strange land. So he's just like wigged out by me. And I've probably had like, in the last couple of trips, I probably had like 10 sessions with this guy. The last one, he says, so what do you do? And I said, I travel the world facilitating, consciousness, but I used to, but now I do it from my computer basically. But, and I told him about, I talked about access consciousness, and he goes, oh, I've heard about that. Is that thing where you do that thing where it's like called the bars or something? And it's like, and it was so random that I was like, oh, universe, you just cracked me up. So I put him in touch with somebody he could get his bars run if he desired to. But it's like, but that world where everybody is just like, you know what, I'm having a shitty day. Can you run my bars? Not, I'm having a shitty day. Can I sit around and spew it all over 10 more people so that they're having a shitty day too? And then those 10 people can spit it all over another 10 people each. There's 100 people. So they're having a shitty day too. And this is what we do energetically, not necessarily from your point of view, but if you're aware and you've got somebody spewing shit on you, but you're not in allowance and you don't quite have this sense of what your reality is, you buy it as yours. Yeah. This is where who does it belong to comes into play too. You buy it as yours, and then you're going, oh, I'm having a shitty day. And then we're spewing out this constant state of judgment rather than, who does that belong to? Can someone run my bars, please? Can we run bars?
That would
Different
be
world. That would be too easy, and it would create way too much ease.
Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. It would be bad.
You shouldn't take a bars class or just get your bars run or any of that. So,
or being questioned either. Don't do that. Don't anytime that something. Oh, I'm going to give you another tool because apparently I'm just a tool spilling machine today. Hello. One of the things that came up in a class that we just did that I thought was just brilliant because it so sums up how people create their lives is every single word that comes out of your mouth is a choice that you make, and it is an energetic. It creates an energy. So basically, everything that comes out of your mouth, you're using to create your life. This is why people who talk small create small. People who talk big and ask questions of what else is possible and I wonder what else could be different with this and in that constant state of expanding with question rather than conclusion, create more and have more ease in their life. The tool that came up was anything that comes into anything that you're thinking about, because thinking is the other thing. You don't need to say it. If you're thinking it, it's creating something also, is everything that you're thinking about or everything that you say as a sentence or comes out of your mouth. If you end it with so be it, you can see that every single thing that you say, so be it. There you go. You've just created something. So you start going, I'll give you an example with this just to make it clearer because you're like, what is he talking about? This guy is obnoxious with all of this speak of change and possibilities and ease. Oh my goodness. Is you're having a day where you're like, oh, I just hate myself today, or I'm having a shitty day. So be it. At the end of that, you're going to recognize how much you're using those words to create you hating yourself all day, or you having a shitty day, or I'm sick of this. So be it. And then you start creating that. But what I did recently was I started looking, like I'd get to the end of the day and go, okay, so because one of my targets is that I get greater every day, that I start creating more every day. And so I'd get to the end of the day and I'd be like, okay, so what, and I'd start looking at the day and go, okay, so what if it turned out, say, not the way I would have liked it to, so to speak, is I start looking at it and going, okay, what was my point of view about me today? What choices was I making today? Oh, well, I kind of was having a bit of a shitty day and I kind of kept saying I was having a shitty day. There's my shitty day.
Yep.
You know, I said something, I think it might have even been one of these Facebook Lives or something that I did where I was like, I started waking up in the morning and just going, I'm awesome. I'm amazing. So be it. Amen. Praise Jesus. But it's like, that's a different energy. Even if you don't believe it, even if you wake up in the morning and you feel like shit and you go, you know what? I'm awesome. Even if you don't believe it, saying that is going to change the energy so that you can actually start going, oh, you know what? I am actually pretty awesome. You know, it's like, and it's all about, it's not about fixing your life. It's about doing something different. If you're waking up in the morning and you're projecting yourself into your day of, you know what, I'm pathetic, I'm having a shitty day, I have no ease, I have no space, I have no peace. That's what you're going to create. Yeah. Rather than wake up in the morning, all that energy could still be there because they're reference points from yesterday or the day before or the year before. That energy can still be there, but that doesn't mean that's you. That's just an energy, and that's a reference point of the past. You wake up and just go, you know what? I'm awesome. I'm going to have an awesome day today. Different energy.
I'm magic. I'm awesome. I'm like, so be it.
Good. And I know you are.
Yeah. But I love that you said just ask a question, because before we go, because I know Karen and she put in here, we're talking about your bars class, and she put, but we need another body to do bars. True. But if you ask a question, like I look at, there's a lot of countries that just went into like a new lockdown again. You might be in one of those, right? But what would that add to your life? Like this live, I'm just looking at your bars class. This could be anything that adds more lightness to your world, or some other class, or even if streaming online, even if I don't have somebody with me, it doesn't technically count to become a bars facilitator, but you can run your own bars. You get to be in that energy for the whole day, ask questions. Like, would that contribute to your body would be a question rather than I don't have a body to run bars with, so be it. Like I'm not, it's those really subtle things we don't ask. I love that. Like ask a question, because who knows what could show up if we came out of like the conclusions of
Oh, it's talk about magic. Seriously, like it might sound, well, once again, it's too easy. But it's like if you even for today practice it, you're going to see your life change. If anywhere that an answer or a conclusion comes out, anything. So if you're like, well, what do you mean by conclusion? Anything that you're choosing with a result in place, or you've already decided is what it is, so be it, is a conclusion. Question comes with no desire for result. Question only comes for a willingness to receive awareness. So and the way question works also is ask the question and then move on. Don't sit there and go, okay, so what would it take for somebody to show up to do this bars class with, and then mentally masturbate and be like, okay, so but what about this? And well, I don't really like people, but what about, and you go into this whole thing rather than universe. I'm asking for this. Will you please contribute to it? That's it. Live your life and move on. And then somebody calls you and they're like, hey, you want to do that bars class? And you're like, universe, why did I not use you so much more in the past? Because it's much easier doing it this way rather than me being an asshole.
Totally. I love it. Brendon, thank you for today. And thank you, all of you, on your comments. And if you're watching this in the future, but thank you so much for this. Was fantastic. And we have another one next week. We'll be live again. Maybe the topic for that is presence. I don't remember, but we'll post around.
Somewhere. I don't know.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao.